Hello folks, Jerry and welcome back to Racing Girls. And I wanted to do I guess sort of like a final series, before 7.0 hits, about Racing Girls and what it used to be, because let's face it, people might complain and not like the 7.0 update, but I think it's pretty crucial because this game, its peak was years ago. So today, what we're gonna do is we're gonna, I guess, relive some of the memories that I personally had on the game throughout the years. We're gonna go through some of the cars from my old garage, and what I wanted to do was like sort of, include flashbacks from the old videos and sort of blend them in and talk about, the memories that we, shared together on this game, and just hope that 7.0 does Racing Rivals any good. And from what I've seen, there's a lot of new cars, and I am really excited about 7.0 update. There is a 3000 GT, the Mitsubishi in 7.0, and all that pretty much just, that's a really good indicator, at least for me, because I like that car. But we are back here on the Jerry Rager account, an account which has been abandoned for 2.5 years now. Also, I am using a different screen recorder because AirShow is a piece of, unreliable shit. So now I am using the default iOS screen recorder, and I actually tried to, to make this video once before, and it, the quality of it was questionable. So I do hope that this somehow does work, but I'm not super sure. Fingers crossed. So here is the first car in my old garage, and I mean, this was actually a donation back when I used to live stream, because my internet for some reason has just degraded over the course of the past few years, and this was actually one of the donations. I know that F Savix got me a bunch of cars, and this was the one of the few, the only one which I still have from that particular live stream. It was this color when I initially got it, and then I obviously changed it to the RGS orange eventually, because that color, not really my favorite, but yeah. I think the rating of this car was 1628 when I initially got it, and I think I only ran it once in the last take of me trying to record this. I guess you can as well try racing this again. It's gonna be laggy as hell. I do need a better screen recorder. I am not buying an iOS device again in my life, just because I bought this thing to record, and sometimes it just doesn't want to, or not very well. So kind of a waste of a few €100. Anyway, let's run this thing, see how this goes. Well, yeah, I don't really know how to drive this thing. I'm just gonna shift it like that. At least the reaction time was better. I mean, we missed the launch, which is not ideal. Oh well. Actually, maybe I ran it before, because this time, I mean, like the 9.9 I got, it kind of seems like not a good time, but not the worst thing ever. Let's run it again. I do wonder. I mean, C-class cars is a class which I never really, ran. Except the R32 Skyline, that's pretty good. Oh my god, there you go, we got that. Oh yeah. With a bad RT, but we do end up getting it, so let's see. It's gonna be like a 9.8 maybe? No, like a 9.7, maybe. Hell yeah. I'm gonna take that. I mean, I know it's not a very good time, but we got, the fast launch, so that's fine. Also, I just noticed that I still have 2000 gems on this account, which is kind of questionable. I mean, here's the details, like best reaction time 0.051. I don't think so. I mean, this is back in the day when I still used to play on Facebook of all things, and then in April 2015 you were actually unable to freaking play on that platform, and I just started quitting and I started selling cards. But yeah. There you go, that's a bunch of races ran, not nearly as many as on my, I guess, next main account, which was obviously RGS Daily Sales. I mean, I had pretty much 3 accounts which I actually used throughout the fucking years. Obviously Jerry Rager, RGS Daily Sales and the RGS Store, but then my primary one from 2015 onward was RGS Daily Sales, and I never really used any other accounts again. So here's a bunch of cards which were also donated to me by FSaveX a longest time ago. I mean, this was back in the day when these cards still used to be new and they were released, and I remember that he would just give them to me the same day they were released, and that was really nice from him. I mean, here we have an M6 Coupe, a car which I kind of liked back when it was released. It's nothing special looking back, but I don't know, I'm obviously not selling it, has some value to me. So there you go. I mean, I remember really loving these rims. This was also back in the day when these rims were just released, which was a long ass time ago. Also, I mean, matte paints didn't even exist before the 3.0 update. Back in, you know, late 2014. This was also donated by FSaveX to me. And I mean, I guess it's worth mentioning that I started playing this game on my birthday in 2014. I just clicked on the showroom, which is something that's not gonna be there in the 7.0 update. So let's click back. We don't really need to go there too much. Come on, the Buick. I mean, this is the Buick GNX is a really interesting car, not because it's too fast, but it is particularly special because the release for this car is actually on very early third light. Also, in case you have the one of these things in your legacy garage, just make sure that you upgrade it on turbo and that you leave the intercooler and the turbo up pipe on stock, because they actually reduce the performance of the car. So that's just a thing to keep in mind. But yeah, these cars, I'm pretty sure I made vids on both of these. And then we have a random Sylvia, which I really do not remember. It was probably a donation. Who knows, maybe it's another car that FSaveX donated back in the day, but I'm not super sure. It might be, or it might not be, who knows. And then 3 after that, which it's pretty cool. I mean, yeah, the E46 M3, back when it was released, everyone just like was super excited about it, and after that this car just sort of turned, you know, to just be forgotten. It was quickly vaulted, and it's just kind of unfortunate. It's a really good car though, I mean, to look at, not really to drive. I actually don't know the way, you know, you're supposed to drive this car, but unfortunately some of the cars in your Racing Hours history really did not get enough attention, and this and GNX being prime examples, in my opinion anyway. And then we actually have my first matte car in my garage, it being the Ratana, and these are actually the rims on here, and actually the first place rims, which the first ever first place rims that I unboxed. And I mean, I'm pretty sure this car was featured in the top 10 best cars of Racing Rivals, which I did back in early 2016, and it's just it's some good times. I mean, one thing that's kind of bothered me is the purple sticker on the windshield, but hey, that's just the way Ratanas are, and up to this day the Ratanas are probably my favorite RWBs in the game, because they are the nicest to drive. I'm pretty sure that technically, you know, looking, they are the slowest, but in my opinion probably the nicest. And then we have an Evo. Of course we have an Evo. This one being pretty much one of I think that, well, I have a lot of Evos. You guys will be able to see that in later episodes of the series, but there are 2 that are by far the most special to me, and this one is one of them. I mean, this car was actually featured in one of my most viewed videos back in the day. My Evo tutorial was with this particular car, and I mean, it has my favorite first place rims. Unfortunately, they changed the textures of these first place rims. I'm actually gonna put a clip in here, just a note to self, so you guys will actually be able to see what these rims used to look like. And now, unfortunately, they have been degraded to this. But this, it's, I mean, so many memories looking at this car. And could probably put matte red on it, but I'm not going to, just for the sake of, you know, keeping this car the way it used to be throughout the years. This car actually means a lot to me, which is also the reason why I'm not selling any of the cars in this particular garage. The RGS Daily Sales, I do have some cars posted up for sale on Facebook if you want to take a look, but this car, really cool. This is, I mean, the Evo we just looked at and the 70C are actually cards which I traded for in one single live stream, probably in a span of 30 minutes, and these are actually the other first place rims, which are my favorites. I mean, the Lava RE30s, and I mean, I know it's on a TC, it's a card which I never really drove. It used to be a campaign card before the Jera replaced it a long ass time ago. But yeah, obviously if you're starting off, playing this game just now, Dodge Dart is probably the best option that you have as far as starting cards go, at least in my opinion. I think I chose the Dart as well, but the TC, not really the star. The star here are the rims. Fucking love those. So there you go. Then we have, unfortunately, one of, in my opinion, least good cards in the game. It's pretty shit. The Bentley Continental. It's slow. I mean, there are 4 S-Class cards in this game which are just really, they just suck. And I mean, well, those 4 being the Bentley Continental, the McLaren F1 for some unknown fucking reason. Then we also have the 2005 or 2006 Ford GT, and we have the Viper ACR-X, which is actually a personal favorite of mine, oddly enough, even though it performs like shit. But this Bentley, this was another F-Series car, and unfortunately it does not have any redeeming features. This car is just plain awful, and that's about it. Kind of waste of gems back in the day, but yeah. Here we have another car which was featured in one of my videos, the Skyline R34 GTR, and this actually used to be 63 tuned before they vaguely changed, I guess, the lobby system, so now it's put into 1664. Unfortunately wasted a lot of our tunes, but one thing which I really remember loving about this car is the rear bumper. Actually, I mean the whole jam body kit, but that rear bumper was just... I mean, this was back in the day when I had no money on this game, and my dream was like to have a Skyline with this particular rear bumper, which are just, which is a really minor goal, but I accomplished it because I actually went turfing and I pink slip versus this particular car and I won it and I loved it. So there is that. I mean, probably not my favorite types of rims, but whatever. I did actually I was broke, so those 75k actually helped me out. I mean, I just decided to leave them on the car because they were valuable. Next up, Viper ACR-X, a car which I previously said I really liked, but is also quite terrible, and unfortunately that is the case. I do have some nicer Viper ACR-X's on my RGS Daily Sales account, which obviously I will be keeping after, this turns into a legacy garage. But this Viper, I mean, I remember having it the longest time ago. I remember trying to sell it the longest time ago. I never really sold, and now here we are. It's a good car. No, it's not really a good car, it's just particularly nice to drive. And that's the reason why I will probably defend this car, even though, objectively speaking, probably doesn't really deserve it. Next up, we have a card which has actually also been featured in my top 10 best cards of racing rivals. I think it was like at number 7, tied with the SRT Viper. Pretty much the S-Class has probably changed throughout the years more than any other class, except the R3s, obviously. I mean, back when 3.0 was released, there were only only 2 R3 class cars in the game, and this is off topic, but the Pagani Zonda and the McLaren F1 GTR were the only 2 R3 class cars for the longest time, and then a whole lot of them came later on. But the S class has changed. I mean, you used to be able to hit 7.7s, and that was just the top of, the fucking S class, or maybe it was 7.6s. Probably like that, but then some of the newer cars came and you are now able to hit like fucking 7.3s. I'm not sure about 3s, but 7.4s for sure. And yeah, this car really nice. I always prefer the 12C over the SRT Viper because it was slightly easier to drive, and also because of the body kit, which is unfortunately gem only, it looked cooler. Also, for the love of God, if you have a 12C in your soon-to-be Legacy Garage, just go ahead and put the aero parts on it. They cost 1 gem each, and they really do change the appearance of the car, so thank you. I mean, if you're gonna do that. It's pretty cool. Oh my god, we actually have this thing next. I set the world record in this car in a video which was... in all of the Racing Hours videos I made, this was pretty much my best racing performance ever. I just hit the perfect launch time and time and time again in this car. I think it was also the only video in the series, not really remember what it was called, but I will actually insert a clip of it here. Okay, let's see, what can we do? I mean, it looks good. Could this be it? Like, on the first fucking run, come on. 9064. Yes! Oh my fucking god, that was... I got the world record for the Subi. Holy shit. Okay. Yeah, and I actually managed to get the world record in that particular video, which has since been broken. But, yeah, I do love this car still, even though this one obviously does not have any of the lightweight parts on it, which came after. But I just cannot believe how many perfect launches I've hit in that single video. It was pretty amazing. Also the best estimated time, obviously it was, I think that the time I've set was 9.056, which was the world record, which has been broken I think quite soon after that, but whatever. Next up, the Ford FPV. Probably one of the most hated cars in the game, and I might be a bit biased in this because, I mean, this is... I actually always loved, you know, the Falcons and the Commodores and, you know, I guess Australian cars. I'm pretty sure this is sold only in Australia. Don't quote me on that. I might turn out to be really stupid as far as that goes. But, I mean, this car is 1660. This used to be the second fastest B-class car in the game, and people didn't really like it. Wasn't that amazing to drive, even though I have zero idea. It might actually been pretty nice. I think that these are cool, but they aren't that special. And next up, you guys probably don't remember this. And I didn't in the previous take, but this is actually the very car which I used in the budget car build with Pigpen a long ass time ago, and that's also the reason why this thing was not maxed. Ready then?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Alright.
Alright, let's do a little better job this time, okay?
Yeah. Oh, this is gonna be close. Ah!
Oof, wow.
Holy shit.
That was close.
Oh my god.
What's going on?
Oh.
Yes.
Oh my god, that was seriously close though.
Wow, look at that. Holy shit.
Good job, good job.
That was awesome run.
It was not maxed. And yeah, this car just... I mean, it's an Evo. I took the easy way out on that one, but I'm pretty happy with the way that video turned out. It was probably one of my favorite, you know, collaborations that I've ever done, and yeah, it's pretty cool. Next up, actually do not remember, but these two, the Sylvia and the C6R, are actually my first ever turfs. So this... I think this might have been slightly sooner. No, actually, no, they're not. I think I know what my first ever turf was, and unfortunately, just the fucking. So here's the reason why these things are not completely in chronological order, is because I used to have a vault account which was called Jerry Rager Vault, and certain cards which meant a lot to me, and I was never gonna sell them. I was gonna put on a spare account, and, you know, just leave them there. But it really didn't work out. I just ended up transferring all of these back. So this was actually my first ever turf car, which I actually did a build on. This was a long ass time ago, and I remember just, I don't think Matt Paints were in the game at that time, and unfortunately the developers, I'm not sure what the fuck they're thinking, but these are white red lines. What the fuck are the red lines? Please, for the love of fuck, fix that in 7.0, because some of, well, no, I didn't spend 500 gems for this, you know, particular set of rims, but F-Savix did, of course he did, but guys, just fix some of the fucking bugs in 7.0, please. I mean, this was a glitch for like a long ass time. But I remember being super excited when I got this car. Obviously, this is before cloning happened, so this is one of the original ones, and it was super valuable when I initially got it. I wanted a turf car for such a long time, and then when I, you know, actually got it, I was so excited. Like, I was building up my garage to get a turf for a couple of months. So he actually ended up buying a few different rims for this car. I think that this was actually one of them. Oh yeah, unfortunately they fucked up the textures on these ones too, so now they don't look as nice. And he also got me a different pair, which I don't exactly recall. Oh yeah, the orange ones, the B Sports. Hell yeah, where are they? Right here. I mean, this car I was gonna keep until I die, or until, you know, the server shut down anyway. It's one of the most special cars in the game to me, because it just has, you know, that sentimental value, I guess. And now we can pretty much just go back. Yeah, I should probably have closed the window, shouldn't I? We can now go back to the C6R, which well, was actually my first ever high-class turf car, and I think I tried this one. I'm not super sure, but yeah, this used to be, you know, really a top-tier car, even though back in the day the market was actually flooded with C6Rs and, well, the newer turf cars came, and now this wrap actually isn't too common anymore. I think that this might actually be the least common turf wrap for the C6Rs, but it's not like, I mean, most turf cars are not very special these days because the prices have just plummeted and the market is flooded with them. But this car, I really do love it as well. Not because it's a good car. Do you guys remember the fucking C6R cars? That sucked, but it's special to me because, you know, of the sentimental value, obviously. Next up, we do have also one of the most special cars in the game. We do have the Nissan Silvia with the vaulted first place rims, which I got back in the day from a member of my group, back when that used to be a thing, for like 150k, maybe 200. It was a steal, and yeah. I think I actually wanted to put matte paint on this car. I ended up not, because I ran out of time and I just wanted to make a video. But I actually went, I remember choosing between this and this shade of blue. And yeah, I just ended up going with this one because I thought it went slightly better along with the rims. So there you go. Also, I set a world record in this car, which was not beaten for a long ass time. It was a 8.828, and well, yeah. I'm actually not sure. Like, that time is still pretty close up to the world record for the Silvia. And yeah, fun fact, there's now kitted and unkitted versions of the Silvia. Obviously this one being the one with the body kit, and the one without the body kit was actually glitched. So there you go. Like, this obviously not being a clone. This was way before a clones are even a thing. Now let's move on to the Racer Showdown cars. Now these cars here, I wanted to actually make up, I just skipped the Camaro Z28 there. Oh my god, I remember a really fucking sad story now. Oh Jesus. Oh, that's sad. We're gonna get to that silver Camaro in a minute. Let's talk about my first ever Gold Racer Showdown card that I got. I mean, I think I ended up getting 54th on this particular event, and this was back in the day when Racer Showdown actually fucking meant something, okay? Like, the developers, please take a look at what this used to be, and I'm talking about Racer Showdown. Used to be able to get gold, silver, and bronze cards, and that was a big fucking deal back in the day. And still, these cards are special. I don't know why they just decided somewhere down the road to just turn, you know, Racer Showdown to shit. But in some point though, I do hope that they bring, you know, these types of events back, because I remember, like, it was fucking 11 PM and I was just fucking grinding throughout the whole fucking day just so I could get my first ever gold fucking Racer Showdown card. I just wanted to get in the top 700, but I just kept fucking going and going and going, and 2 years later, more than 2 years later, we now have this thing before us, and I'm still fucking proud, believe it or not. Next up, the Ford FPV. I'm pretty sure this was also the one which I got. For some reason, it's not maxed, or actually it just doesn't have NOS on it. You know, this was back in the day when all the fucking people complained, oh my god, how dare you have NOS on your card, and you just devalued it. And it still pisses me off, you know, to this day, that people bitched about NOS being on certain cars, even though, like, I just always preferred having max cars, probably because I sucked at tuning, but also it pissed me off because, you know, people bitched about having NOS on certain cars, which were useless for lobby tuning. So there's that, but yeah, that's the reason why I did not put NOS in the car. And here it is now. This was actually one which I got no live stream. I did not win the Skyline, which, I mean, it's still nice. I'm never gonna sell it. I know that I kind of know who I got it from. I mean, I would recognize the name, but I don't really remember it now. It's pretty cool though, you know, another gold car in my collection. SVT Cobra, I think that I actually got just outside the top 20 for this one, which was probably my highest ever, you know, placement on a Racer Showdown, and yeah, I remember being quite proud of this one. It's cool. The SVT Cobra, you know, obviously got a pretty huge usage later on because it was, you know, really good for turf tuning and, you know, for, you know, for crushing really. Next up, the 2007 Corvette, and this was a car which used to be super, not really super popular, but it just kind of fell out of grace. I mean, this car, this I also won myself, and it's just, I remember just being fucking amused because of all the fucking shitty ass body kits you were able to put in this car. And did I actually ever put, I never actually put a body kit in this car. Now that's dedication, because this thing has some of the weirdest, and in my opinion also the most coolest, some amazing body kit choices. Hold on, what? I see the really fucked up one. Actually, kind of like this one in a really fucking Ricer sort of way, or it just looks fucking cool in my opinion. On the other hand, here's probably the, oh my, like this one is just hideous though. Like, did not like that one. And some other body kit choices, but we don't have to get into that. This one obviously doesn't have NOS either, so there you go. It's a really cool car. And now let's get back. I was not able. I think maybe these were some of the sooner ones. No, were they? No, I think that in the weeks that followed the S2000 Racer Showdown, there was both a Z28 and a Skyline R34 Racer Showdown, and that still makes me sad to this day, because I remember, you guys can see, there is a silver Camaro here, and unfortunately there is not a silver Skyline, and it was just, I mean, just play the clip. I think the last golden card that I got was the SVT Cobra, which was a while ago. Even though I did get 2 silver ones. Hold on, what are they? Yeah, there's a Camaro and where's the Skyline? fuck is the skyline? Where's the skyline? Wait, what? Clip. But yeah, I just realized that in the middle of filming, my silver skyline has disappeared, and unfortunately I took my sweet time to contact the developers, and the car is now long gone, which is really unfortunate. And it just, I worked my ass off. It was probably my favorite out of all of these Racer Showdown cars. I'm talking about the silver skyline, which is gone now. And it's just, it's not there. Just fuck my life, right? I actually wanted to sell this silver Z28 a few years ago, and the dude ended up, you know, backing out. Just didn't contact me after he said to put NOS in the car. So it really doesn't matter now. But yeah, still pretty cool. So I'm gonna finish it here for this episode. If you guys want more clips like this, please let me know. I do kind of want to go to my cool garage like this, you know, with the cars which actually, you know, mean something to me. So yeah, I will see you in the next episode. Goodbye.